do a video today about this new hunting system that I found out a couple years ago. It took me a year to buy it because I wasn't sure it was for me, but after 1 year of trying to hunt this public land that I do on my electric fat tire bike, I ride down the trails and I'm pretty mobile, but I had to use a tree stand and climbing sticks. I thought that was the lightest option for me. The tree stand was 12 pounds and the climbing sticks, I think those are close to 8 pounds altogether for 3 lone wolf climbing sticks. And it was kind of a pain. I had to mount like a piece of plywood on the back of my bike, and then I would mount the tree stand to that, and it would throw my weight off. And it wasn't very easy. It was tippy and kind of dangerous to ride. So I was going to come up with a different system to mount the tree stand. But then I came back to this system that I finally bought, and it's called saddle hunting. And what it is this right here is your tree stand and your safety harness. This is a tethered mantis, and if it wasn't for this bow hoist, which is very handy, a Doyle's bow hoist, this and the ropes inside, this would ball up, I mean, pretty small, the size of a softball. There are some ropes that you need to make this work, so it adds a little bulk. But this is very light. This is under, I believe it's 2 pounds with the ropes, minus the bow hoist. So the bow hoist is a retractable rope, and it is very handy. It's worth the weight and bulk for me. But anyway, the saddle is just a sling that you actually climb into and attach to your body. So I'll show you how you put it on. So you grab it, throw it over your shoulder. And there's a belt, a waist belt. That you connect. And all this is extremely strong. Now there are some leg straps that you place, and it's a really cool system. It's just a hook and loop. And that's all there is to it. It's on. Now the components of this are, you have the waist belt, you have the leg straps. There's 2 loops. There's this loop that your bridge is connected to, and this is a fixed bridge. Some saddles come with a carabiner that clips in, so you can put it on without slipping it over your shoulder and then clip in. I like the fixed bridge, and there's different ropes you can use also. This is Amsteel. I also like the Amsteel because this is very thin, but this I think is rated for 8,000 pounds. I've seen people pick up trucks. This is just like winch cable, that winch rope that you can buy now. I like the fixed bridge because there's less bulk, and you can see that they spliced the rope. There are no knots in here, so it makes it stronger and less bulk, and that's important when you're putting it in your pack or wearing it out into the woods. You can actually just walk, with this out into the woods. Here's the one set of loops with your bridge. Then there's this set of loops, and this one is attached, and this is a sis hauler. It's just a pouch that they sell. It's very lightweight. It's just made of mesh, just like the material that the entire saddle is made out of. It's got straps and mesh, and it makes it extremely light and packable. Now this sis hauler or pouch holds my lineman's belt. Now I've added a Ropeman 1, and this is an easy way to adjust your lineman's belt. It comes with a Prusik knot, so you have to take the weight off the actual lineman's belt, and then you can move the Prusik knot to adjust it. This is very simple because you can do one-hand operation. So this goes around the tree and clips in to the other loop that's made for the lineman's belt. And you can see what I mean, that tightens it up. So I'm on the tree, one hand, or I can loosen it one-handed instead of taking the weight off, moving the Prusik knot. So I like this little piece of gear. It makes it extremely easy. Now, what you do is whatever method of climbing you're going to do, sticks, or I have a pair of tree gas that I'll do a video on, that I connect to my shoes and climb like a tree service dude up the tree, and it works really well. I'll do a video on that here next. But whatever method you climb up the tree, you have your lineman's belt, and then what you want to do is attach your platform. There is another piece. You need to put your feet somewhere. So I'll show you that next. Now, once you're at hunting height, you want to attach your platform. Now, there's two different types of platforms. I have both store-bought ones. A lot of guys who are into this do a lot of do-it-yourself type of things, and that's how this whole thing kind of got born. This is not a new thing. It's been around a long time, but it's starting to catch on. So there's more availability of store-bought, or you have to go online to buy these things. You can't just go to a store to buy this stuff. It's pretty much going to be online or mail. So one of the companies that sell them is the Tethered, and that's what I have on now. They also sell a platform with it. Now, I'm not sure how heavy this is. I would say it's around that 2-pound weight too. It's aluminum, and once you're at hunting height, you can take this off and set it on the tree, and all it is kind of a small tree stand. It's got a button on it with a loop, and then just your strap. Once you have it tightened down, it's just like a tree stand. You pull down and you buckle it, cam it over. So that's where you put your feet. Now, the other system that is nice, and it's a lot smaller, it actually fits in my pouch, is a ring of steps. A lot of guys were using Ameri steps that they don't sell anymore and putting them on a strap with a buckle. Now this, again, I store-bought. These are aluminum steps. I believe they're called squirrel steps, and it comes with the strap and the steps. Now, I've wrapped these with cloth tape because they're aluminum, so now they don't make any noise. Okay, and every year I'll probably have to wrap them with more cloth tape. But what you do here is you string them out a bit so they're kind of spaced on the strap, and you wrap them around the tree. And there's another cam buckle. And then what you want to do is space them evenly around the tree, whatever works for you, and you'll find out as you hunt where you kind of want to place the steps every time. I like to place one between my legs, 2 on the sides where I rest my feet most of the time, and then 2 off the back on angles, like 45s off the back. So once you get it tightened up, you cam this over. And these are solid. I take the strap, wrap it around the tree, lift one of these steps up, and put the strap on so it doesn't blow in the breeze. And then you actually stand on these steps. And to get shots on any side of the tree, you just rotate your body around, and I'll show you that in a minute. So once you've climbed onto your platform, you want to set your tether. And what that is just a strap just like you would have on your safety harness. So you're already carrying your safety harness in your strap anyway. It's no different than this saddle and this rope. So those two weights match up. So you're already carrying a safety harness, or you should be, and you're already carrying this rope for your safety harness, or you should be. So those two things offset, and this becomes your safety harness and your tree stand. That's what's so great about this. So you take your tether, and most people find that what's comfortable is from forehead to chin height. So this one is on a tether. This one is on a prusik knot where your carabiner is. And some people put another Ropeman 1 right here so they can adjust up and down, and I'll show you why, because it changes the way you're leaning or sitting. I like the Prusik knot because it's smaller, less bulk, and I don't find that I have to adjust very often in the tree. So once you get this tether set, you take your rope bridge and you clip into the carabiner. You tighten it up, and now you're secured to the tree. You can't go anywhere. Now you can loosen up your lineman's belt and actually take this off. And what I do is I store it in that little pouch that I usually store it in while I'm walking in the woods, and my tether is below it in the pouch. I use my lineman belt first, get to my platform, then I reach back into the pouch, and on the bottom is my tether. I pull it out, attach it to the tree, clip in, and now I drop my lineman's belt back in that same pouch. I cinch it closed, and that just stays there for my hunt. You can't feel it because it's all the weight on this belt is attached to the tree, and you do not feel any of this weight. Now once you're set, you can adjust this Prusik knot, and some guys like to lean, and this is how you hunt. Some guys like to lean, and some guys like to sit. Now, that's where knee pads come into place. You either need knee pads or like a seat that straps around the tree that your knees rest on when you're sitting here, because you're going to sit at some point, and you're going to lean at some point. You just change direction as you go. And now to shoot, I have my bow on my left side, I have my pack on my right side, and I'll show you how I connect those in a minute. You can shoot from 12 o'clock all the way to 6 o'clock, or even further, being 4 o'clock. And it takes very little movement. Now to shoot from the 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock on this side, you can grab your bow, lift it over your rope, and I can shoot here. And I can rotate like this. And it takes some getting used to. You got to practice this stuff, how you move about the tree and get comfortable with it. It's not something you're going to just buy and then hunt for the first day. And if a deer comes this way, you're going to make the shot without spooking them, like on a mature buck or something. So you do have to practice these movements. Now, I like the platform. I think it's more comfortable, and it's a little easier to maneuver. You can see this tree is leaning this way, and this is you want to be on the uphill side of the lean when you're in your saddle, if you're on a leaning tree. But when you grab that bow, you can come up and you can actually lift and pivot on this platform, turn, and then make your shots on this side of the tree. So there's no shot you can't take. Like a tree stand, you can't shoot behind you. If you're sitting here, you can't, shoot directly behind you. And the other thing great about this is you're putting the tree in front of you and the deer, where the deer you think are going to come from. So you have the camouflage of the tree, and you walk around and keep that tree between you and the deer. Now there's another component to this is you can buy a belt, a back belt. And this is very small. This unravels. It wraps around you and attaches to two little Prusik knots on your bridge with little buttons. They just fit in there, and then when you're sitting, you have that back band that you can adjust wherever you want, and you can lean, and this is just as comfortable as, I would say, most tree stands, except the like Millennium tree stands or some of the bigger ladder stands. It's more comfortable than most stands, I would say, all but the biggest, bulkiest ones that designed for all-day sits. It's not quite as comfortable as that. So the belt is a nice feature to have. And if you take the shot, you just release the Prusik knots a little bit, and the belt drops down, and you're free to move. So what's nice is on the platform, your feet have a nice flat spot to sit, and it's very comfortable. And you can go from a sitting position to a leaning position, and you never really get tired, because you can change so quickly to take pressure off your butt or your knees or whatever you have to do. This is nice to lean on, you know, when you're sitting here. I read books when I'm in the tree stand. You know, you just sit there with your book or whatever. Sometimes, you know, you can just rest your head on your belt, close your eyes for a bit. You're not going to fall out of this thing. If I was to flip around, you know, you're not going to fall out of this thing. So it's very safe. From when you step off the ground till you get back on the ground, you're always attached to the tree. It's more safe, I believe, than a tree stand. Now, if we go up to the ring of steps, it's the same type of thing. It's a little bit different on how you take your shots. You actually move around the tree with the steps. And it takes a little practice. Whoop. It takes a little practice to move around the tree quietly, but you can see I can shoot anywhere around the tree with the squirrel steps or the ring of steps. The one thing I've found is because there's not a nice flat spot, you're putting pressure on your feet, and I have to adjust from my heel to the middle of my foot, to the ball of my foot, to my toes. Because as you're leaning against it, you're putting pressure on a smaller spot instead of like the platform where your feet are the pressure's evened out over your entire foot. So the platform, I believe, is more comfortable and a little bit easier to use, especially in the beginning. But the squirrel steps are so small that it's like not even having a platform when it fits in your pouch. This platform is light, but it's still bulky. And it's another thing you have to carry. You know, it counts as a piece of equipment that you have to carry in the tree. These squirrel steps are so small, I don't even count it. It's a little bit heavy, you know, it's only like a pound, I believe. But I don't count it because it doesn't really add bulk to my whole system when I go in the woods. So if I'm going for long treks, I bring this tethered mantis and my squirrel steps. Now if I want to hunt in comfort, when it gets a little bit colder, then I'll switch to a different saddle. Now don't tell my wife I bought 2 saddles. Hopefully she's not watching this by this time. I bought 2 saddles. I'll show you the other one. I think it's a safe bet my wife stopped watching this video if she was watching it. So this other saddle is actually the first one I bought. It's the Arrow Hunter by New Tribe, the Arrow Hunter Kestrel by New Tribe. Now they have a few different models. This is the, I think, 2nd generation. They've come out with another one that has like a cordura on the top and bottom and a mesh in between, so it kind of moves in the middle. Now this one is so comfortable that I'm not going to purchase the 3rd one. I already have 2. So this one is nice. It's now you can see it's a little bit bulkier. It's a little bit heavier, maybe a pound. I still have a retractable hoist on this, and the ropes that this one comes with are bulkier also. They use, I believe it's a Predator rope for their bridge. It's a very thick rope. It's the same rope that they use for their lineman's belt. It's this thick, as opposed to am steel. You can see the difference. And the am steel is actually stronger than the Predator rope. Now, when they have the Predator rope, when you buy this and it comes with their bridge, it has a very large, bulky figure 8 knot on one side and a carabiner on the other. Now, you can go to G2 Outdoors. He's, I believe, part owner of the tethered mantis saddle. And he goes through a tutorial about how to splice this and make your own fixed bridge. So that is what I have done. And I bought the rope and a couple pieces. It's a, I believe, a knitting needle. You need a like aluminum knitting needle that you cut in half to thread this and make this one-piece bridge. The one that comes in the pouch, or with the New Tribe Kestrel, is, like I say, bulkier. It's longer. It's too long. It's just it was too bulky for me. You can see how small this is. So I'll go ahead and put this on. Now, this is the Kestrel on. It goes on the same way. There's a buckle, 2 leg straps that go around and clip in. Their system is a little bit harder to do, but I actually leave the straps on both of them and I climb into the thing when I'm up at my tree. I made my own bridge, so I'll clip in here. Just this. And this one has the same lineman belt loops and the same bridge loops as the other one. This one has a thicker, like a Cordura or something, fabric. And because of that, it holds its shape better. It's bulkier in your pack, but when you're sitting, it doesn't seem to ride up on me as bad as the tethered. And I have a lot less, they call it hip pinch. And that's what I experience a little bit in the tethered saddle. I wouldn't call it pinch. It's more of just a pressure. It's not like it's not painful. It's just somewhat uncomfortable when you're sitting for, long periods. But this one, for me, it's much more comfortable. Now I've heard guys who feel that the tethered man is just as comfortable, and they've used both. In my experience, this is more comfortable, but it all depends on your body shape, I believe. So if you can get away, if that tethered mantis is more comfortable than this, I would definitely buy that tethered mantis because it's so much more light and packable. But on a long hunt, I want to sit in this. This one's very comfortable for me. It has two leg straps. You can actually adjust this bottom strap where it snugs up against your butt a little bit more, and you just pull on these straps, or you can just release them, and you can adjust that part of it. Now the pack that they have is a little bit, it's bigger, you can fit more stuff, but it's a little noisier, and it swings a lot, and I don't like that part of it. You could clip this into another buckle if you wanted. It's a little bit harder to get to then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hunt with the tethered in the beginning of the season, and when I'm going on long hunts, and when it gets a little bit colder and I'm sitting longer for rut time hunts, I'm actually going to take those pouches off the mantis and put them on the kestrel. You can see how easy all this stuff is. It's kind of daunting when I first looked at it with all the ropes and stuff, but it's really not that bad at all. And I was worried about the comfort, and after hunting in these I got probably 12 hunts between the two at 2, 3, 4 hours a piece per hunt. So I've used it enough to feel, to get a feel for how comfortable it is sitting. I'm still getting used to the whole process and moving around the tree. I didn't have as much time to practice on the off season this year as I wanted to. So if you like these videos, please press like and subscribe, and I appreciate all the views and I appreciate all the comments. So until next time.